Now, political haggling continues. This as parties try to negotiate a deal in 66 hung municipalities. And according to the Municipalities Systems Act, political parties have until Tuesday, that's next week, to form councils. So for more on this, we're joined now by political analyst, Professor Siphamandla Zondi. Prof, thank you for your time and a warm good morning to you. I'm hoping that this conversation will give almost a glimpse into how these coalition talks and negotiations are currently going right now. We're on Thursday, Tuesday being the deadline. It seems we don't have all of these municipalities confirmed with council. So at this point, what's the tug of war looking like in terms of negotiations on the table?
Good morning. Indeed, the horse trading is taking place. Tough negotiations are taking place. And some of these negotiations are made difficult by kind of unreasonable positions taken by political parties or promises made by political parties before the election. It was always risky for political parties to say, I will never work with so-and-so, or will never work with the party so-and-so, because you don't do that before you know the outcomes of the elections. Because the outcomes of elections may be a signal from the voters that they wanted to work with the other party, either to work in a friendly coalition or to work in a coalition that is meant to keep one party in check. It's only, it seems to me, only the Action SA that has kept its word and kept to that determination, for example, not to work with the ANC. It's very clear that other parties are trying all manner of things and talking to almost everyone. Now that even the EFF in municipality in the Western Cape has worked with the DA, when the DA had indicated it won't work with the EFF. So dynamics are such that the predetermined positions cannot hold. But we're still far from confirming most of the municipalities that are hung. So it's going to be a huge horse trading going into the weekend.
Yeah, as you're speaking now, Prof, you remind me of the IFP. I mean, they seem to have a change of heart, previously stating they would not work with the ANC, but now when we're looking at KZN, it seems they have voted with the ANC in those hung municipalities there. But back to your point about Action SA, I mean, I spoke to the chairperson of the party, Mr. Michael Beaumont, a couple of weeks ago, and he said the reason why they took that stance is because as a party, they felt, or rather thought and decided that how would they make it work with a party with which they feel is corrupt, their allegations are against them, that want to probably pursue some, criminal or charges against them. So how would they make that decision while balancing, governance on the other hand? So it seems they took a decisive route there, as compared to the likes of the IFP and the EFF, who seem to have said, listen, if you meet our demands, then we can have a deal on the table.
Yes, I can understand the Action SA's view, but I think being new in politics can also be a bit of a limitation, because you don't always do coalitions with clean parties alone, or parties perceived to be clean. You do coalitions with parties that can enable you to do what you want to do. But if you're looking for clean parties, then perhaps look outside politics, or wait until you are able to win things on your own fully, and all of that. It's easy for a new party to do so, but they're not a scandal for itself. It has not been besmirched by anything else to humble it. I think with time, they will look at possibilities of even working even with the ANC, where they see an opportunity to demonstrate to the voter that they are able to run something, they're able to negotiate something effectively, they're able to talk to everyone and get the best deal for the citizens, not necessarily for the party. Because you don't constitute a government for the party members who told you don't work with this one, a portion of the party members. You do decisions on the basis of what is the best for that city, what is the best for that country. And many people had thought that Mashaba was the best for Johannesburg, as a mayor for Johannesburg. And the way to be a mayor in Johannesburg seems the most likely one is to work with the ANC.
Yeah, and with obviously these talks still going on, Prof, if I may just ask you this last question, do you think these political parties will reach the deadline next week, Tuesday? Can we expect an announcement on time?
I think they dread a by-election. It's a tough thing because you might lose the little that you have, you might decline. Voters might respond terribly to it. So they are really hard-pressed to have a deal almost everywhere. And I suspect that by Monday, a string of deals will be announced all across, because there are two options: is to work with a big party and have a smaller coalition, or is like the DA, the first coalition by the DA in Cape Town when they first took it, a big party work with a string of small parties. Those two options are still open, and the second option is much easier to put together than the first one, negotiating with big guns. And where we've seen failures, announcement is still not working, is between big parties. But I think there's a huge opportunity with those small parties bringing one or two seats into a coalition.
Well,
I would be very surprised if more than two hung parliaments go to by-elections. I'm very surprised.
All right, well, Prof, thank you for your perspective this morning. We'll have to wait and see, but we appreciate your time this morning. Professor Siphamandla Zondi joining us this morning.